The portrait artist Godfrey Lindauer holds a special place in New Zealand history. He painted hundreds of subjects, many of them noted figures in the colony. But the work that has received most of the attention are his portraits of Māori from the 19th century. These paintings have provided a portal into our past.
Te ike nui o roto o te kupenga. The great warrior chief, Topine Te Mamaku. Te Mamaku was born south of Taumaranui at a place called Makakote. Te Mamaku had 5 wives and only 1 son, which is the line we come off. He had a number of pastites, marae kowai, whakapapa, but his main one was Makakote. He was paramount chief of Tūhoto Ariki II, which covered that whole area. We are not sure when Te Mamaku was born, but he died in 1887. Records say he was at least 100 years old. He was a pretty strategic sort of a fellow. He knew how to fight. He knew how to fight battles. Wherever the people needed him, didn't matter whereabouts in the country, but he was there. For instance, the Maniapoto people had trouble at Tūhoto, which is on the outskirts of Taumaranui. The soldiers threatened to come in and take over, and Te Mamaku went up there to lend them a hand and set up a defence post up in Tūhoto, warned them not to come into our rohe, not just take.
Whanganui. Ka tau mai ngā tapu ai o te kamupene ki reira, the New Zealand Company. Ana ka tāhei te rātou whā te kaumano eka. Ana ka tauri atu ngā iwi o reire ki te kohe te atu ki te kāwana. Ka rangahau tia te kāwana. Ana ka riru i te kāwana. Waru mano eka ke.
There was a fight on. And he knew he was right. He'd warn you first. And if you didn't listen, you suffered. Whether it was you got a hiding or whether it was you got put 6 feet under the ground. For instance, a couple came into the King Country and were warned. They never left. Another instance in Whanganui, settlers were warned not to come in there. Then again, they didn't leave either. You can work the rest out for yourself. Governor Grey actually hated his guts because he couldn't catch him. He was that clever of a man. He knew the ins and outs on how to get back to Whanganui, and once he hit the mouth of the Whanganui River, he was home. He just disappeared. And in saying that, he wanted peace. But I think peace came too late for him. He was also offered the kingship, which he turned down 3 times. Reason being, he didn't want a Pākehā title. He just wanted to stay the way he was. Taumarunui is where his photo in Ngāpu Waiwa Marae. If you go into the old Warapuni there, he's where he should be up the top. Sometimes I go down there and just kōrero with him, see which way I'm going, make sure my walk is straight. But I'm getting sentimental now. I'd like to see any paintings of any tūpuna back to their rightful people. I'd like to see him hanging back up in Taumarunui or downriver where he belongs.
It's an interesting idea, should Lindauer's portraits be returned to descendants. The fact that the paintings belong to a collection in perpetuity for everyone, I think, is a positive thing. And we do return them to marae on occasions by request. So what it brings up in these times are issues of care. In this environment, the paintings are stored in individual racks, conserved to international standards. They're displayed in contexts that give them relevance. And perhaps for some descendants that's not enough. And who would argue with that?
I'm blessed to have a tūpuna of his status. I draw a lot of strength from that, from my tūpuna to help me get through the tasks that I've got to do. Honoured to be part of him, to be part of the family, to be part of this program. Kia ora.
Henry Partridge commissioned Lindauer to paint the portraits that now form the Partridge collection. We're not quite sure how Partridge met Lindauer, but we do know that they met around 1874 when Lindauer first came to Auckland. Henry Partridge came to New Zealand in 1867. He came to the South Island seeking gold, as many others did. Partridge was quite a modest man. He was genuinely interested in Māori customs and Māori people.
Partridge, he develops an art gallery above his tobacconist shop in Queen Street. Ancestors and their uri would go to his gallery, which was called the Lindauer Gallery. They'd leave comments in the visitors' book. They'd inscribe their comments, the date that they visited, who they were, and any other of the relatives that came with them.
I think Partridge's motivation for collecting the painting was that he wanted to commemorate the earlier generation of Māori, and I think that he was genuinely interested in Māoritanga.
Te Paea Hinerangi, Mary Sophia guide Sophia. In 1832 was the year that Te Paea Hinerangi was born in Paea. While she was residing in the north, she also met her first husband, Paratene Niho. Together they both had 14 children. She eventually did leave Paratene Niho and she went back to Russell. There, while she was there, she then met her second husband called Hori Taiawhio. Both Hori Taiawhio and Te Paea travelled back down to his homelands called Tūhorangi in the Tarawera. Very soon we had noted, distinguished visitors arriving at Tarawera, coming to see what they called the 8th natural wonder of the world, the pink and white terraces. Who would have thought we would have the 8th natural wonders there located in Tarawera? And that task fell upon Guide Sophia. Tourism was born at Te Wairoa village in Tarawera by Guide Sophia. And the comments by the tourists reflected, wow, who is this lady? All of a sudden, there was costs, currency. There were charges such as 7 shillings to go on the longboat. This tribe never seen money before. A huge amount, one of the richest, wealthiest iwi throughout the land in the mid-1800s. 1886, there were all these signs. The water level dropped around the rims of the lake. Something wasn't quite right. Guide Sophia was out on the lake with her tourists. They saw coming in from the right-hand side a waka. The tourists on board the longboat that day thought it was part of the attraction, but Te Paea and those from the tribe were very, very quiet. They went past the front, from right to left of the longboat, and disappeared in a mist. Guide Sophia went directly to one of the oldest and most prestigious tohunga, Tūhoto Ariki. She shared with him what she had seen. His response to her was, "Ka pā te horo o te whenua. Our lands will soon be besieged. Kei te ora koe, but you will survive." From there, Guide Sophia returned back to her home. Her husband, Hori Taiawhio, went outside. All of a sudden, he saw a glow above the peak of Tarawera Maunga. To Te Paea, he yelled out, "E tai, titiro, ka wera te ao, the world is on fire." All of a sudden, the ground trembled. People were running frantically. At that time, when the rocks and ashes were coming over Guide Sophia, she went outside her whare and ushered people in to the number of precisely 62 people. As they were inside the whare, they used the chairs that were inside the whare to prop the roof because of the weight and all the stones and rocks that were coming upon the roof. All the homes around the village had actually collapsed. But Hinemihi, another meeting house, was still intact. Back at Guide Sophia's little whare, Mother Nature brought together all different walks of life, Māori, Pākehā, tourists. In the corner of her house during that traumatic time was a little girl who was crying. Her name was Margaret. Guide Sophia was wearing her heitiki. She took off her heitiki from around her neck and placed it around the little girl and said, "This is to keep you safe."
Many years later, her great-great-granddaughter came looking for the whānau of Te Paea. Last year, the heitiki was handed back to the family. It was an emotional time to know that this is a taonga tuku iho, a treasure from our past, from our nene.
They waited it out till the next morning, and then Guide Sophia emerged with her people, 62 people, from the house. 1886, a year never forgotten in our country's history because the largest eruption, volcanic eruption, happened. People were misplaced from their homes, in particularly Tūhorangi. Tribes from around New Zealand offered their homes and their lands. Whakarewarewa became the home for Guide Sophia and her family. There, she brought the skill and profession of guiding from Tarawera to Whakarewarewa. Very soon, we had new guides arising from her as the mentor. Guide Makareti, Guide Maggie Papakura, Guide Rangitiaria Denon. The painting certainly demonstrates the character of this woman. Self-determination, intelligence, strength. And as a descendant, looking at Lindauer's painting, gives us that sense of humility. And he's painted not so much her face, he's painted the spirit that she represents. So very, very, very grateful and very thankful for this painting that Lindauer has done on Guide Sophia. Whakarewarewa was the last and final resting place for this matriarch that died on 4th of December 1911. He kaupapa nui, he kaupapa whakahirahira. Nei rā te mā, ia mātou te whānau. Nei rere mihi kaua ke kia koe te paia. Moi mai i kui. Moi mai te tapairu.
Tūhoto Ariki II, a great tohunga of the Ngāti Tawāwhai a Ngai Tūhorangi iwi. He was born on the 26th of December 1751. His upbringing was based around the southern end, as we know today as Lake Rotomahana. His hapu were known as Maitichi. The environment back then was solely clear, untouched, and perfect. The flora and fauna, the abundance of food, birds, inanga, crayfish. It was for a want-for-nothing environment. And it's in this upbringing while he was still an infant that he was nurtured and cared by his mother and father. And all this Klauekuia. And everyone knew that this was a special child. He would do things in a most unique way. And his mum looked at it and put forth his direction where he was to go. Not anyone could go into this realm of the great tohunga. He was nurtured and groomed in preparation for the life he was to set out in the near future. And it was to be with the great tohunga o te aroa, Ngāti Te Rāwhai.
Tēnei mea te tohunga, koina te kupu Māori mo te tangata kakama, ehia ke ngā pūkinga o tēnei mea te tohunga, ngā wehenga o te tohunga. Te mea tuatahi ko te tohunga ahurewa, koira te tohunga e ako tiana i roto i ngā whare wānanga o te ao Māori, ngā āhuatanga mo ngā whetū, āhuatanga o te moana, ngā whakapapa mai i ngā atua, me ngā rangatiro o ngā waka, ngā tīpuna heka mai ki a tātou. Ko rātou ngā tangata pukinga o te ao Māori.
He was a seer, he was tangata matakite, and he could astral travel. He could turn anything bad to worse. He could evoke the deities at his will. He was a unique tohunga. He could actually control the environment, the winds, the rain, at his will. And when used for the right purpose, he would do that. He helped many chiefs of the time when to go to war, when not to go to war. War on Mokoia Island. Coming through Okataina, him and his cousin Tūmokoa Te Whanepipi. Only Hika sent a few of his warriors to come and claim their heads. They couldn't even get through. He whipped up the unreal storm of that short space of time. These were the real tangata matikite. They were always hidden. You went to them. They inhabited below the ranges, but the people of the time, all our great tūpuna, knew who they were. They were strictly coded with our traditions, tapu tapu. They didn't venture out for that reason. If they saw any mishap, bang. They didn't have to raise a hand. It was all in their thoughts. He didn't marry for that reason of his workload that he had on himself and had for the greater hapu, the greater iwi. In June the 10th, 1886, a catastrophic event occurred. The great eruption of Tarawera.
Ka pā te horo o te whenua. Kei te ora koe. Tūhoto Ariki said that Guide Sophia would survive. Actually happened. And she did.
That's how powerful he was. It's been reported that Tūhoto Ariki II was buried for 4 days after the Tarawera eruption. Well, I'm here to negate all of that. He took his spirit, wairua, body, back to Okataina, the place where he was inducted into this world of the tohunga. And there he passed away gracefully. One thing is for sure, when the past comes back, the whānau actually know the truth and they should produce it. Too many times, past anthropologists have got to delve and to create our past the way they see it. I'm here to dispute all those readings and those writings of old and to put the story right. One of his whānau asked, "Can I sketch you?" Tūhoto Ariki. And he allowed that sketch. Some 60 years later, this lovely man treads through the land, Godfrey Lindauer, and he comes across a sketch. He inquired, "Who is this?" The answer came, "That's Tūhoto Ariki, the tohunga of all this area." And it's from there that Godfrey Lindauer actually transposed it into art form. It's brought forth the story of him, and we're very grateful. The whānau are very grateful. Born 1751, died 1886. And therein lies the clear purpose of rongoa that gave a longevity of life.
supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.